Namaskar. Welcome back to Wisdom Tales at Vedica Online. In the Vedic times, the students would go to the ashram of their spiritual master. The guru would have an ashram where a lot of students would come and study under him. One such sage who had a large ashram and many students under his care was Sage Dhaumya. Sage Dhaumya was a very kind-hearted person. He was very compassionate and loving to his students. And of the many students that he had, there was one student who was very, very intelligent and resourceful. His name was Aruni. One day, Aruni and his friends were playing in the ashram. As the sun set in the horizon, there was a heavy downpour of rains. Sage Dhaumya noticed that when this huge drops of rain had fallen on the ground, it had formed a canal and it was flooding the entire place. This canal was throwing the water into the fields, and very soon, if something was not done, the fields would get flooded and the crops would be finished. Aruni, sensing the concern of his spiritual master, his guru, Sage Dhaumya, he requested Sage Dhaumya, "Oh my dear Gurudev, please allow me to fix this problem." Sage Dhaumya said, How will you fix this problem? You're a small boy and it's already getting dark. The sun has already set and it's raining so bad. I can't allow you to go and fix this problem." Aruni was insisting, "Oh my dear Gurudev, please allow me. Please allow me." After much insistence and on the promise from Aruni that he will take care of himself, his Gurudev, Sage Dhaumya, allowed him to go. Aruni immediately rushed to this place where the canal had broken off a small part of the bund and the water was going into the fields. He picked up a large stone and tried to block the place with this stone. He found that the stone was not big enough to block the water. He looked around and then he found some wood, some small twigs and branches. He tried to put them in between and tried to block the water. Nothing happened. Aruni was getting tensed. He had to stop this water quickly because the water had started going into the fields. He looked around, found mud in the fields. He started piling the mud and putting them and trying to block the mouth of the gap. It did not happen. He was getting frantic. It was getting dark and his efforts were going in vain. And he was not able to block the water going into the fields. On the other side, Sage Dhaumya was getting worried. He was tensed. Dhaumya and his students were seeing that it was getting very, very dark now. The rains had not stopped and there was no sign of Aruni returning back. Getting impatient, Dhaumya Rishi and some of his students set out to find Aruni. After walking some distance, when they reached the place where the canal met the fields, they saw an amazing sight. The fields had been protected by the effort of Aruni. How did Aruni protect the fields? After trying to use the rock, the woods, the twigs and the mud, when it failed, Aruni understood that the only way to save the crops now was to he himself lie down and close the mouth of the gap. And that's what he was doing. It was getting dark. It was raining heavily. It was difficult for Aruni to be in that position, but he knew that if he moved an inch, the crops would be destroyed. He was eager to save the crops. He was ready to sacrifice to save the crops. Sage Dhaumya and the students were amazed at the resolute purpose, the determination of Aruni to save the crops. Let us be an example like Aruni. Thank you very much. I hope you like this story. See you again